What can we do about overcoming religious conflict in our world? Hello, my name is Jim Collins. If we look at the biblical story of Cain and Abel, it's found in the Hebrew Bible, but it's also in the Christian Bible, and it's in the Quran as well. It's a story of two brothers who are the sons of refugees, Adam and Eve, who've left paradise. It's a study in religious jealousy.
According to the Bible, the Garden of Eden was located between the sources of 4 rivers, 2 of which are known to have originated in what is now modern Turkey. Thus, there is a good chance that at least part of the biblical Garden of Eden was located in eastern Turkey. I first visited Turkey in 1989. With 5 other clergy, we represented 6 different denominations. We were making a documentary series about Saints Peter and Paul, the sites of the 7 churches of the Book of Revelation, and the 7 ecumenical councils of the early church.
The whole question of how we know what God wants us to do, or what God wants in the world, is a really important one. People think that they know what God wants because they read this in the Quran or they read this in the Bible, but how do we really know what it is in terms of today?
There's a lot to be learned in terms of interpretation, from looking into the past and at what words meant in another context 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. It's important to have an understanding of what those contexts and understandings were in order to have some insight into what we are interpreting today. In Istanbul, we saw the Topkapi Palace.
It was also interesting to experience mosques in this former capital of the Ottoman Empire. The relationship of Cain and Abel is the first biblical example of a conflict between different religious beliefs from some 4,000 years ago. Creeds and theologies of belief have been a source of conflict and violence ever since.
In the ancient world, this community was known as Nicaea, and it was here in 325 AD that the Emperor Constantine called the First Ecumenical Council. The Nicene Creed, which is still in use today, was first formulated here.
I was hoping to learn more about what made early Christianity such a profound influence on history during the Roman Empire and the centuries that followed. Religion in Turkey goes back over 10,000 years, long before the dawn of recorded history. And there's evidence that this religion had to do with Earth Mother worship, although this is controversial. It had to do with astrology. It had to do with many of the elements that Christianity, Islam, and Judaism grew out of. It's an important source for many different things about the study of religion.
We also visited the Curate Church, with its iconography of the Virgin Mary, which according to tradition had saved the city.
The idea that one person's belief is better than another has led to more bloodshed in human history than pretty well anything else we can imagine.
I returned a decade later to focus more on the roots of faith, and saw places such as the Nev Shalom, or Valley of Peace Synagogue, before it was truck-bombed in 2003. My experiences in eastern Turkey in 1999 were so profound that I have spent the past 15 years trying to understand it all better. I decided to return for a closer look.
I think a lot depends on how we study other religions. Like in the past, I think there's been a tendency to study other religions as though they're all wrong, but you should know something about them. And I don't think that that's really that helpful, but if you start looking at religions, different religions as recipes for life, you know, that people are taught certain things about life, certain practices of prayer and conduct and so on, then at some point you can kind of look at the relationships that we have, the way different cooks in a kitchen can share recipes.